So here's the thought for today. I wonder whether the history books, the record books, will look back on COVID, the virus, as the time that it swept away bureaucracy and modernized our great sport. It's been going now for about 150 years. And what we can see around all other sectors, all other industries, whether it be college or science or cancer research or the insurance industry or mortgages, the stultifying actions of bureaucracy that prevent new things and innovations happening is being blown away. It's being blown away sector by sector. And it's true, those old structures that probably were fit for purpose when they started, but are now inadequate, are being blown away. People that have had ideas for decades, nothing's happened with them. And over COVID, things have happened. Let's look at the news over the last few days of Novak Djokovic and the Players' Union, whatever name it is. In his speech, he said this idea has been knocking around for 30 years. 30 years. And we've had all sorts of people at the top. And the status quo has remained the status quo. And we all know it's needed to happen. But those bureaucracies at the top really probably want the bureaucracy to continue. And under the guise of let's work together at this particular time, let's come together and let's be united, might be a code for it's our way of making sure that change doesn't happen and what was will be. So Novak's been sitting on this idea for at least 2 years. Remember at the Australian Open, when they were about to send players out into 70 degrees heat, and the players had no say and they had no voice and they had no decision making, and Djokovic at the press conference asked the media and everybody else that wasn't a player to leave, and this was the first players meeting 2 years on after the Australian Open. Djokovic leads what will undoubtedly be a massive group of players to support the new union. And why? Because over COVID they had time, they had energy, they could think new thoughts and have the action to make them happen. Without COVID, it would have been business, same old, same old, same old, same old, no time and no energy. So now, just a little look into the private sector. We have not been helpful to ourselves. We are so fragmented globally. When you look at it now, it's unbelievable. We're all out there in our own silos, doing our best. And the only way that we can have growth come out of our own little postcode is to pitch with or work with the bureaucracies from above and hope that we get some crumbs out of the table and we jump through their hoops and feel grateful. Well, what if, just consider this what if the private sector, who in times of crisis are the only ones to innovate, they're the only ones that create new order out of the ashes. Let's just say the private sector came together. And then we had a global network made up of networks. So in every vertical segment, from playground to podium, we could find somebody in the world that is doing remarkable activities in recruitment, retention, or bringing back lapsed players. And let's just say that person could share their success and IP horizontally to people in their sector all around the world. Would that be amazing? Would you think then that we could be partnerable? Could we be sponsorable? Could we be investable if we stepped out of our own little postcode, our own little thing, our own little silo? You bet we could. So in future, when they look back, here's a tennis court, a series of tennis courts, which could be anywhere in the world. As it happens, 1 court out of 4. And let's just say that with the private sector working together, not only could these courts be full, but we'd be looking to build more courts. That's what the innovators, the private sector, working globally, joined up, can achieve. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to give you a little insight as to how exactly that can happen.